UFC Fight Night, Holm versus Bueno Silva, full card prediction. Now, I know you do not want me to do a full card prediction where the first 8 fights, there are only one fighter coming off a win inside of the UFC. McKinney's coming off a loss. Tucker Lutz, loss. Baghdasaryan, loss. Istela Nunes, loss. Dudakova, debut. Costa, loss. Austin Lingo, loss. Genaro, Valdez, loss. Evan Elder, loss. Tyson, loss. Azat, Maksum, UFC debut. Alex Munoz, loss. Carlos Deaton, III, loss. Ailin, Perez, loss. And Ashlee Smith, loss. There's a lot of fighters coming off losses. I mean, Nazim Sadykhov's the only one here with a UFC win in his last fight. Prado, loss. Ottman, Azaitar, loss. I believe Norma, Dumont, and the 2 women right here are both coming off wins. Walt Harris, loss. Josh Parisian, loss. Albert Durayev and Junior Park wins. Myra Bueno Silva, Holm, I believe, wins. So the women are coming off wins. And then the co-main event, there's people coming off wins. And then it's literally just Nazim Sadykhov. That's like it. This is not a very good card, ladies and gentlemen. But you notice how I'm looking at the card like this and there's only 13 fights? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I got some news for you. Jack Della Maddalena is going to be staying on and fighting on this week's card. I know, you guys are shocked. He had 2 cancellations last week on the UFC 290 against Sean Brady, and then the up-and-comer Josiah Harrell, who came in on short notice. But now he's got a new opponent in Basil Hafez, who's a decent prospect in my opinion. I'm going to pull up his Tapology before we get into the full card prediction, just so you guys have something to know about his opponent. 8 wins, 3 losses, and 1 draw. He's coming off 2 wins, but again, it was a split decision on Anthony Ivy, who, at that time was in the UFC for a little bit, got knocked out badly by Nikolay Veretennikov, then he got a split decision. I mean, he's beating this guy worse than Christian Aguilera was able to beat him. It's not really saying much. He lost split decisions to Richard Williams and Evan Cutts. Evan Cutts is not a slouch by any means, but he's not UFC caliber, and he beat him. Richard Williams is just a 1-0 guy. Had 1 fight total in 2018 against Basil Hafez. That is it. The man retired, and he was able to beat this guy. All of the guys he's beating are coming off losses. They're on like 2-fight, 3-fight losing streaks. He's going to get slaughtered. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, we're putting Jack Della in all the parlays. It's not going to help the parlay very much, but you already know. So let's get into it. We're going to do that Jack Della prediction later, but you should already know it's going to be an easy Jack Della win. Let's start off with the first fight in the women's bantamweight division. Ashlee Smith and Ailin Perez. In the bantamweight division, Ashlee is taller, she is lengthier. And even though Ailin Perez is moving down from the bigger weight class to the smaller weight class, you'd think she's going to have a significant size advantage over Ashlee Smith. I think Ashlee's a pretty solidly sized girl for the women's bantamweight division. She's done really, really bad in the UFC, losing to Ketlin Vieira, Sarah Maras by armbar, Andrea Lee, and Norma Dumont. Only beating a girl that has a losing record inside of the UFC. The only reason I'm not out here like super confident on Ailin Perez, one, she's not good. I mean, she got a disqualification on Tamiris Vidal, had a few TKO wins and submission wins over dog doo-doo fighters, came into the UFC and just showed how overrated she was by getting submitted by Stephanie Yeager. Ailin Perez is not that good. I'm going to be honest. She's very, very low level for this women's bantamweight division. Again, the reason I'm not picking super confident for Ailin Perez is Ashlee has not fought in 2 years and 6 months. if you're out here trying to watch like a technical breakdown of this fight, I can't even give you that because she hasn't fought in 2.5 years. She could go out there, so much improved wrestling and grappling, take down Ailin, Perez, and submit her. I don't know. Maybe she comes out there and she throws a spinning wheel kick, and she's developed her kickboxing and Muay Thai substantially since her last fight. I don't really know. It's hard to know with girls that have not fought in 2.5 years. So I'm gonna go Ailin Perez because she's been more active. She is coming from the bigger weight class to the smaller weight class. I think she's just going to keep pressuring Ashlee Evans-Smith, win round number 1, win round number 2 with some wrestling and ground and pound and control time. And maybe we see a little bit of a comeback late for Ashlee Evans-Smith. Again, the lowest of the low, women's MMA right here. Don't bet on it. Don't put money on it. Guys, this is not a good fight. It's very, very low level, but I'm going to go Ailin Perez by a decision. Alex Munoz and Carl Deaton III in the lightweight division. Same age, a little bit taller is Alex Munoz, but the reach of Alex Munoz is very, very solid, and Carl Deaton's reach is very, very small. I don't know what's up with his reach, but 67 inches for the lightweight division is really, really small. For this weight class. He was coming on 2 losses in a row. Outside of the PFL, joined the PFL, lost, and then beat a guy with a losing record, and then Justin James, the man that is currently on a 5-fight losing streak. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy is not UFC caliber. I don't know what he's doing in the UFC. Only reason he's really here is because he took the short notice fight on Joe Selecki and got absolutely clobbered. Taken down, controlled, and then submitted in round number 2. Same thing should sort of happen here with Alex Munoz, except for the submission. Alex Munoz isn't a submission guy. He's a wrestler. Good ground and pound, good control, stays on top of you and dominates you on top. But he's not really a finisher. I mean, 3 decision wins in a row right there. One of them against a one-handed fighter. Joined the UFC, and he doesn't get finished, so that's good. Nasrat Haqparast couldn't do it. Luis Pena couldn't do it as well. But he was able to land some good takedowns on these guys. And Carl Deaton has much worse takedown defense, in my opinion, than a Nasrat Haqparast. So I do believe Carl Deaton is going to get taken down. He's going to be on bottom, looking for some sort of submission, maybe a guillotine, a Darce choke from bottom, another guillotine. He's got a lot of those on his record, but I don't think he's going to get it. He's not UFC caliber. Neither really is Alex Munoz. The losers, without a doubt, getting cut from the UFC, but I think Alex Munoz, his wrestling pedigree and his control time here, a little bit of tip-tap ground and pound shots will be enough for him to seal the deal in a very boring decision. Azat Maksum and Tyson Nam in the flyweight division. I'm very, very hyped on this man because if you look at his face, he does not look 28 years old. He's 28. But like on first glance, you think he's older than Tyson Nam, 42, 43 years old. At least that's what I'm thinking for this guy. He looks very, very old by the facial features itself. But he's not. He's 28 years old, had a really, really padded first 8 fights as a professional MMA fighter. Then he started to really step up the competition at the end of 2019 and into COVID and things like that. Fought a 6-0 guy, got a good win. 5-1 guy, unanimous decision. An undefeated 5-0. Arm triangle choke submission, 7-3, knocked him out. Round 1 knockout on a 12-3 guy, which was a very, very solid one. He's actually legit in my opinion because he's got really, really good submissions and knockout wins. Over solid guys himself. I've watched a few of his fights on the regional scene. This guy's legit. He's about to fight Zach Makovsky in the co-main event of Brave CF. He's a legit guy that Azat Maksum has beaten. After that, he beat Azamat Karamabekov, who's Alan Gabriel, who's pretty decent in the main event of Octagon 31. This guy was just, I don't think he was ready for that step up in competition. Then his most recent win, I would say, is one of his best wins on Fabricio Nunes, 25-year-old. who's got a lot of finishes on his record. 5 knockout wins, 1 submission, and 2 decisions. And he was just able to dominate, take that fight down, and get that submission. He's very good on the ground. High-level wrestling, high-level submissions. And he's not one of those guys that just chases after that submission. He's more position over submission. And I think he's going to go out there, get the takedowns on Tyson Nam. When he's throwing those big shots, looking for the knockout to take the O of Azat Maksum. I think Azam is going to time those big looping shots at Tyson Nam, and that is where Azat is going to land the takedowns and control it on the ground. The one thing I'm having trouble with is if I'm going submission or if I'm going to go a decision, because obviously we know that our man Tyson Nam has the power to go out there and get the finish, but I mean, he hasn't been submitted except for his last fight with Bueno Silva, where he was already hurt a lot on the feet leading up to that one. So I'm going to have this one going all the way. I'm really hoping for an Azat Maksum finish here. I'm hoping he goes out there, takes him down. Maybe Bo Nichols him, hurts him on the feet, and then finishes him. But I have a feeling this one goes to a decision. I mean, the betting odds are saying there's going to be a finish here. -120 for an Azat Maksum finish. Azat by submission is at +325. Should be an interesting fight. I'm going to go Azat Maksum by a decision. Genaro Valdez and Evan Elder is going to be fight of the night, in my opinion. I mean, a lot of people are saying Nazim, Sadykhov, Terrance, McKinney. That could be. That very well could be. But I see a very high likelihood that fight's ended in round number 1. Where Genaro Valdez could go to a decision here with Evan Elder, who definitely could go to a decision here in an all-out war and battle. 3 straight rounds of just boom, shot after shot after shot after shot from both of these guys in an absolute war. So I'd say this one has a little bit more likelihood of being fight of the night. Evan Elder is a little bit more technical. He's taller, but not as lengthy as Genaro Valdez here. They're both undefeated coming into the UFC, and they're both 2 losses now in their 2 fights in the UFC. So loser, they might have to go back onto the regional scene after this one, but it'd be a shame because they're both so exciting to watch in the UFC's lightweight division. I don't expect much wrestling, much grappling here. I expect them to swing and bang. Evan Elder to catch Genaro when he comes in, and Genaro to land a few of those big shots himself while he's coming in on Evan Elder. I think the odds are ridiculous to have Evan at -300. I'd have him close to like -150, something like that, as I do believe his counter game will be on. He'll use his technique to catch Genaro Valdez a little bit when he comes in. But Genaro can make it dirty. He can make it rough. He can close that distance and land some big shots himself. So it's a very close fight. Almost a 50-50, but I do lean Evan Elder to land the bigger shots here, and I think he actually knocks down Genaro Valdez in the end of round number 2 and puts him away. I think Genaro is going to be too worrying about getting that finish, too pressuring, and he's going to walk into something from Evan Elder. Austin Lingo and Melquizael Costa in the featherweight division. I am going to go Melquizael Costa. I know I said that one wrong. To win this fight by a decision. Austin Lingo did lose a decision to Youssef Zalal and a submission to Nate Landwehr. He's never been knocked out, though. He's shown a decent enough chin in his UFC career so far to where I don't think it'd be super likely for Melquizael to get the knockout, although the man is very powerful, knocking out Anderson Ferreira in round 1, knocking out Tom Santos in round 1, and finishing Junior Melo in a very good win, who's a solid grappler that came off a good ground and pound TKO win before that, but he was able to nullify that grappling and finish him on the feet. That's what I see kind of happening here is Melquizael defending and nullifying the grappling of Austin Lingo. He is a shoot-the-boxy guy of Joao Emilio with João Anderson Brito there, and a lot of other very good guys that go to that gym. I think his grappling will be on point. His takedown defense will be on point. I think he's more powerful than Austin Lingo. Gonna land the better shots, and I think Melquizael Costa will win round number 2 and round number 3. I think round 1, Austin will start off well, maybe landing getting a takedown or two, but as the fight goes on, Melquizael will start to take control. I do have Melquizael Costa by decision. Istela, Nunes, and Viktoriya Dudakova in the women's strawweight division. This is going to be an easy prediction for me. Don't bet your hard-earned savings, all of it, on Viktoriya Dudakova. We just saw what happened to Yasmin Jaragui, another very good undefeated prospect, taking on a Brazilian in Denise Gomez. This time it's Istela Nunes, who has some solid KO power for sure. But Viktoriya Dudakova is so good of a wrestler and grappler. She's so legit, taking down, controlling, and dominating Maria Silva on top when she was injured the entire freaking fight. A lot of rear nakeds, ground and pound TKOs, arm bars, and things like that. For this one with Istela Nunes, Istela, I think, is going to give up her back like she did with Ariane Carnelossi. I think she will land some good shots on the feet, using her height, using her reach, staying at range. On Viktoriya Dudakova, landing some good jabs, some good kicks at range. Eventually, Viktoriya is going to close that distance, get the fight to the clinch, and take her down in round number 1. I think round 1, she's going to focus on ground and pound, not necessarily getting that submission. And then in round number 2, once Istela starts to slow down, starts to get easier for Viktoriya to ground and pound and ground and pound and ground and pound. And that's where I see her cinching in a submission in round number 2. Viktoriya Dudakova. Round 2, rear naked choke. Tucker Lutz and Melsik Baghdasaryan in the featherweight division. I am going to go Melsik to win. He's had a lot of time since the Josh Cooley-Bow fight about 4 or 5 months ago, where he was taken down and submitted later on in that fight. Was doing very good on the feet, landing some solid shots on Joshua Cooley-Bow in round number 1. Got hit with a few good shots from Joshua Cooley-Bow in round number 2, but he ended up losing by submission after that. I do believe in this fight he's going to be able to defend the takedowns, because that's all he really has to deal with for this camp against Tucker Lutz. Against Cooley-Bow, Cooley-Bow is a legit striker as well. He's not only a grappler and jiu-jitsu type of guy, but with Tucker Lutz, he's really only the wrestler type of guy. He doesn't really have much for Melsik Baghdasaryan on the feet. So I do believe that Melsik Baghdasaryan is going to go out there, do what he did against Dennis Buzukja, Colin Anglin, and Bruno Souza, defend whatever takedowns come his way, and just be the better striker. He's so legit on the feet, a lot of knockout wins, and TKO wins in round number 1, round number 2. So I think he's going to do what he does, defend those takedowns, and kickbox for 3 straight rounds here. Tucker Lutz is a very tough guy when it comes to the strikes that are coming his way. Did get submitted by Daniel Pineda in his last fight, but that's Daniel Pineda. Daniel's really solid when it comes to finishing his fights. I think he has a 100% finish rate, if I am remembering correctly. Yeah, he has 100 wins. 100% of his wins coming inside the distance is absolutely insane. But Melsik, he doesn't necessarily go for the finish in all of his fights. Sometimes he is content to just stay at range and pick his opponent apart. I think he wins every single round here against Tucker Lutz, and I think we got a 30-27 decision. Terrance McKinney and Nazim Sadykhov in the lightweight division. This one is going to come down to the moments. I'll say it right now, Nazim is the better fighter. He's more technical. He's more skilled. If this is a 10-round fight, Nazim Sadykhov is winning. If it's a 5-round fight, Nazim Sadykhov is probably winning. But since it's 3 rounds, so the same height, but a good, solid reach advantage for Terrance McKinney there. Since it is a 3-round fight, Terrance McKinney likes to come out round 1 very hard, land big shots and hurt his opponent, which I think he will. I think he's going to drop Nazim Sadykhov in round number 1, and I think Nazim will survive. He's a very tough guy. Very tough guy, this Nazim Sadykhov is. Round number 2, Nazim's still going to be a little bit hurt, but he's going to be like, I need to win this round to win the fight. But I think Terrance, a big thing in this camp is going to be not to rush the finish. I think he's going to drop Nazim Sadykhov in round number 1, and his coaches are going to be like, don't rush it. We got 2 more rounds potentially. And I think Terrance is for once going to listen. Once going to have the game plan and not go for broke on that finish after he hurts Nazim Sadykhov. He's going to win that round and have enough cardio to lay it out in round number 2 as well. Hurt Nazim Sadykhov in round number 2 as well. And then round number 3, maybe Terrance still has a little bit left, but not a lot. And Nazim starts pressuring forward, landing big shots, landing elbows, uppercuts, knees in the clinch, leg kicks, body kicks, and a good solid round number 3 for Nazim Sadykhov, but it's not going to be enough. I got Terrance McKinney winning. Probably his first ever decision. I don't remember the last time Terrance has gotten a decision win yet. No wins by decision, no losses by decision either. Do have it going all the way, and I do have this one being the first ever decision for Terrance McKinney. I'm just remembering, how is he minus 240 on Michael Israel Ortiz? I don't know how to say that name. I don't know how those were the odds. Terrance McKinney by decision. Francisco Prado and Ottman Azaitar in the UFC lightweight division. Ottman Azaitar, I believe, has the better chin here. And he's got similar power to Ottman Azaitar. Similar willingness to trade and throw those big shots with his opponents and at his opponents, and he's got a good grappling game to fall back on as well. I think round 1, they're going to go out there and they're going to exchange big blows and hurt each other on the feet. Ottman's going to get rocked. Francisco Prado is going to get rocked. It's going to be a banger of a round number 1. Round 2, same thing pretty much. I think Francisco's going to hurt Ottman on the feet. Ottman's going to hurt Prado on the feet as well. And I think Prado's going to hurt him again and realize I got way better wrestling, way better grappling than him. He's starting to gas out. He's starting to get hurt. He's starting to wobble a little bit. If I could take him down now and just squeeze on his neck, I think I could put him away. Bada bing, bada boom. Francisco Prado takedown in the middle to end of round number 2. And I got Francisco Prado with a rear naked choke in round number 2. The final women's MMA featherweight fight, potentially. I'm not saying that as a fact, just as an opinion. Norma Dumont versus Chelsea Chandler. Pretty similar in age for women. I mean, 32 really is not that old for women's MMA. Similar height, similar reach, just 1 inch going to Chelsea Chandler, who is definitely going to have the wrestling and grappling advantage over Norma Dumont. Norma is going to go out there with a slightly better striking game than Chelsea Chandler, but Chelsea has been getting better every single fight. With her striking, we just have not been able to see. I've been watching her Instagram stories and things like that. Her striking is not looking too shabby. In my opinion, I believe she's a better wrestler than a Carol Rosa, who's mainly one of those clinch type of girls. I think she's a better wrestler than Aspen Ladd, Felicia Spencer. But I also think her striking could actually hang with Norma Dumont. I still give Norma the advantage, but I think Chelsea will be able to hang on the feet with Norma Dumont. I think she gets the takedowns as well in those later rounds, and I got Chelsea Chandler as the underdog by a unanimous decision. Walt Harris and Josh Parisian in the heavyweight division. This is a cardio one. I mean, neither guy's really that good. Josh Parisian has some weird flashy stuff he throws every now and then, and he's got good cardio as well. He's very solid in those later rounds. I mean, even if he's losing the fight, he's still showing willingness to survive and things like that. And I'm going to be quite honest here. I think Walt Harris, knocks him down, hurts him really badly in round number 1, and just goes all out for the finish. That's what he does. He hurts you on the feet, and then he just goes crazy for that finish. Whether he's going to get it, whether he's not going to get it, he wants to get that finish with all of his might. 12-second knockout on Alexei Olenek, a flying knee, knocked out Sergey Spivak, which is still a super good aging win, considering the man, since that loss, beat Tai Tuivasa, Augusto Sakai, and Derek Lewis, only losing a Marcin Tybura and Tom Aspinall in the heavyweight division. That's a really good win, and he could do that to anyone in the heavyweight division. But here's the thing. Josh Parisian knows that, and Josh Parisian knows how good, or how bad I should say, Walt Harris is in those later rounds. I think he's going to go out there knowing he's probably going to lose round number 1. But he's going to come back in round number 2 with a good, solid time takedown on Walt Harris, ground and pound him, control him, wear on him. And at that point, Walt Harris is going to be like, oh my God, I gave it all I could to get that finish in round 1, and I didn't get it. And I think Josh Perez is going to ground and pound, either finish it at the end of the 2nd or at the beginning of the 3rd. Underdog, Josh Parisian. Basile Hafez versus Jack Della Maddalena just got set for July 15th. UFC Fight Night, Holm versus Silva. And we got the prediction for you. It's not a very hard prediction by any means. Basile Hafez has lost to guys like Richard Williams by split decision, who has won professional MMA fight, got a split decision loss to Evan Cutts, split decision win on a guy that was on a 5-fight losing streak, and then he's most recently beaten Anthony Ivy and Evan Cutts. Those are his most recent wins. The dude is no match for Jack Della Maddalena. The guy doesn't get finished, I'll give him that. Split decision loss, and then a unanimous decision loss. Even as an amateur, it was another unanimous decision loss. But, I mean, something's different when you go in there with a guy like Jack Della Maddalena. Jack Della Maddalena is going to go out there, outstrike this man, and TKO him on the feet. He's a good grappler, good wrestler. Got a lot of submission wins, triangle choke, rear naked Kimura, armbar. He will be looking for the takedown ASAP in this fight with Jack Della Maddalena. But as we saw for Jack against my man Ramazan Amid, he was able to defend those takedowns, defend off all those submissions, get the fight back up on the feet, and get the TKO. That is what I see happening here. Jack Della Maddalena, round number 1 at TKO. Albert Duraev and Junyoung Park in the middleweight division. I am going to go the favorite here. I like a lot of others, we're thinking Junyoung Park would be the underdog in this fight with Albert Duraev. He's the underdog on Tapology here. Most polls that I've seen have been for Albert Duraev. I was very, very surprised to see the odds. Having Junyoung Park as the favorite, I was going to be happy about having another underdog here. I was going to be like, I have a lot of underdogs on this card, but Junyoung Park is only at minus 133. Now he's an even bigger favorite. I mean, I literally just updated it for a second, and during this live stream at 6:11, no way. Why did it I don't know why it just changed. It must have just changed like 10 minutes ago. I think the odds must have just changed. That's crazy. But Albert Duraev, Junyoung Park, again, you'd expect Junyoung Park to be the underdog here, with Albert Duraev having a little bit better wrestling. I mean, going out there looking pretty decent against Chidi and Njokuani, able to get the takedowns, the control time, the ground and pound, and able to hold his own a little bit on the feet. But I still think Junyoung Park's a slightly better striker, and I don't see Albert Duraev holding Junyoung Park down, considering how good we've seen Junyoung Park be against Joseph Holmes and against Dennis Chulinin and Tafon Nchukwi, getting those takedowns, controlling and ground and pounding in all of those fights. But we also see the striking, like in the Gregory Rodriguez fight. Yes, he did lose, but he showed better striking in that fight than Albert Duraev showed in the Joaquin Buckley fight. So overall, I'm going to go Junyoung Park by decision here. Albert Duraev didn't get finished by Joaquin Buckley, by like knockout or submission or TKO. It was a doctor stoppage. I don't think Junyoung Park with doctor stoppage, and he doesn't really have the power to go out there and knock out Albert Duraev with actual punches and chin him. And I don't think Albert Duraev's submission skills are that bad to where he gets submitted by Junyoung Park in this one. I think it goes all the way. I'm going to go Junyoung Park by a 29-28 split decision. Holly Holm and Mayra Bueno Silva in the bantamweight division, 41 and 31 years old. A little bit of a height and reach advantage there for Holly, who's going to be looking to stay at range for a little bit from Mayra Bueno Silva, land some kicks at range, jab and 1-2 Mayra as she is coming in. Mayra's game plan should be to get the takedowns and get a submission on the ground, but Holly's shown very, very legit takedown defense in the past, kind of dominating Irene Aldana on the ground in their fight. I do believe this will be a clinch fest and a striking fight. Not a very good striking fight, not a very good clinch fest, but I think Holly Holm defends the takedowns of Bueno Silva, lands the more effective shots in the clinch, and lands a little bit more volume at range on Bueno Silva as well. Myra is coming off some good wins in her last few fights, beating Yenan Wu, which was actually a decently close one, submitting Stephanie Yeager, that was a solid win, and submitting Lena Landsberg in her last fight. Those are very good wins, but she hasn't shown the ability to hang at the highest level, especially not even that long ago. 1 year, 8 months ago, she was getting destroyed on the feet by a much smaller opponent in Manon Fiorot, who is, again, very, very legit. Got taken down by Marina Moroz, outstruck by Marina Moroz as well. I think Holly Holm should be able to outstrike her at range. And if not, clinch her up. But she's got the good takedown defense. I think Holly Holm will win this one in yet another boring decision. Yana Santos decision, Irene Aldana decision, Raquel Pennington decision. I got Holly Holm by a decision. Yeah, that is the full card prediction for UFC Fight Night. Holm versus Bueno Silva. And I'm going to go Holly Holm by decision, Junyoung Park decision, Josh Parisian by TKO, underdog, Josh Parisian, underdog, Chelsea Chandler by decision, Francisco Prado by a submission, underdog, Terrance McKinney by decision, Melsik Baghdasaryan by a decision, Viktoriya Dudakova, rear naked choke, Melquizael Costa by decision, Evan Elder by a banger of a TKO in round number 2, Azat Maksum by decision, Alex Munoz by decision, and Ailin Perez by decision. That's what I got. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe as usual, and yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.